One of the understandable flaws or weaknesses in fundraising design is that we tend automatically to pay more attention and give more benefits to donors who make larger gifts. It's perfectly understandable because everybody is reaching for short-term and long-term goals, and without major donors giving very significantly, we'd never get there. We'd never get there in a capital campaign or any kind of an annual fund. But underneath the radar, there are a lot more donors giving modestly. And those giving the most modestly are donors under the age of 35. Not because they don't have any money, as it turns out, but generally because the opportunities for them to display their philanthropy, to make themselves known, and to get the feedback that they need in order to want to give and want to give again more generously, it's really not there. So if you stop and think about it, most of the fundraising programs that we have today are designed to meet the needs and sensibilities of middle-aged and older donors. You know, direct mail is still the most popular fundraising program with donors over the age of 75. I almost said 65, but actually the baby boomers have crept into the 65 and up category now. But the very elderly donors, I shouldn't say very elderly, I'm getting pretty close myself, but anyway, older than I, donors, still like to transact gifts through the mail as a priority. Middle-aged donors are now preferring online giving, supplemented by some direct mail, some over the phone, and of course direct major giving. And then you've got the younger donors, you know, growing up in a completely different high-tech environment. Direct mail doesn't reach them. Telemarketing doesn't reach them because they don't have landlines. And so they're out there, sitting out there with money. So when we survey donors under 35 and take out the full-time students who generally have nothing but debt and don't have a full-time job, and we look at everybody else, the average household income of a donor under 35 who's passed school and is employed is between $70,000 and $120,000. Nothing to sneeze at. They say, when we talk to them about how they use their money, they think nothing of dropping $500 on a pair of shoes or $300 on a Friday night at the bar, so that they have the money to give. They are, just like their middle-aged and older counterparts, extraordinarily philanthropically minded. They want to give. They have very determined ideas about how they want to give, how they want to get engaged with organizations. They tend not to give by simply writing a check and going away. They tend to give and want to be physically engaged, involved at the same time. And they don't respond to traditional fundraising appeals. Things that work for younger donors are direct approaches by their peers, for instance. And while, for example, street fundraising is the bane of existence of middle-aged and older donors who dislike it intensely, it's actually a very smart fundraising program for younger donors. It's run by people in the same age demographic, people very eager, knowledgeable, well-educated, knowledgeable about the charity they're talking about, and it's face-to-face interaction, which is what young people like. So it works for that demographic. And actually, if I were to give any advice to anyone running a street fundraising program, it would be to say, let your older donors walk on by. Just don't accost them on the corner at all, and go after just the young people, because there's extraordinary potential, and go after them for monthly giving programs, EFT programs. And you can jump right into an arena in which they're comfortable. Young people have no problem offering gifts through credit card over the internet. They're perfectly comfortable with internet purchases. And they also have no problem with monthly giving programs. Whereas the oldest donors in the study still hold back from monthly giving because they want to have the ability to hold charities accountable in between the gifts they make. Younger donors are more trusting in that respect. So they have money, they have excellent jobs, they're entrepreneurial in spirit, but most important, in a down economy, they have less to lose, of course, because they haven't amassed investments like older donors, and they're at the beginnings of their career and their adult lives, and they're just naturally more optimistic. They think the world is their oyster, that everything's going to be fine. Economies don't affect them nearly as much. The swing up or down doesn't matter to them as much. And when we ask them, as well as middle-aged and older donors, how they're going to manage their philanthropy in a down economy, they say, well, we're moving forward, business as usual, we're interested in giving and increasing the number of causes we support and giving more generously. So they really are an essential backbone of anybody running a fundraising operation in an up and down economy. If you can find your young donors, learn more about them, adjust fundraising practices to coincide with the sensibilities of younger donors, you will have a buffer against a bad economy, and even more important, of course, you're preparing your major gift donors of the future. So it's all good.